Hello everyone and welcome to another video where we are here the day after the Seek and Destroy update has dropped, and we will be having a look at every single vehicle of every nation and every tree that was released this update, with no exceptions, even the boats. Regrettably. So let's begin with the United States Ground Forces, where there is a singular new vehicle, the XM800T, or as I keep reading it, the XM Boot, which is what I will definitely be calling it. It is a small light tank, rank 5, 7.7 with a 20mm cannon. In terms of pen, it's got the M63 with 66mm of pen at best, which is rough. 7.7, so maybe it'll be alright, but still 66mm of pen is painful. But it's a very funny, cute, small little bugger, and is probably a very zoomy fella. Following this, we have the AV8B Plus for the Aviation, which is just like the Italian AV8B Plus, except this one is American. It is armed with, I believe, AIM-120s, indeed. Just like the Italian one, it can carry 4 of them, as well as AIM-9Ms, and has a, in my opinion, much cooler camouflage than the Italian one. The grey, dark grey contrasted with the light grey makes it look so much better. And it's a Harrier, a very goofy little boy, a very goofy 12.0 rank 8 Harrier. But that is not the only new American jet. There is also the F-15C MSIP-2, which is coming after the other F-15 and is now the United States' top fighter jet in the game. It again has AIM-120s here somewhere, here they are. 4 of them, as you can see. Also these really strange looking presets up here that I just can't get used to, where it shows these additional drop tanks with the AIM-120s on them. Also it actually looks like that you can carry 6 of them. This preset just says 4. Following that, you can see the difference between this and the other F-15 in the tree, the F-15A, is this one has these gigantic fuel tanks on it. Anyway, moving on, the last US vehicle being added is the USS Cool Buton. And it is a rank 5 4.0 coastal ship that has... well, as you can see, I mean, you can read the numbers, it's ships. I don't play ships, I can't tell you much about ships. Ships with very strange thicknesses, 3.175mm. Yeah, just amazing. But it's a strange looking individual. It's got the hedgehog mortars from the, like, Matilda hedgehogs, so I find that pretty funny. But other than that, there's nothing too special about it that I can see. Unlike the upcoming German boat, which I'll also show you in just a minute. However, now it's time for our next nation. Germany gets a single new tank, which is the Canadian Leopard 2A4M, which actually has a camo net. It's just not currently shown. I'll show you in the test drive in a minute. But this is a new rank 7 premium at 11.3. Once again, it's a Canadian vehicle in the German tree, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I believe that a nation should not have its vehicles scattered across various other nations. For example, there are Canadian vehicles in the German tree, the British tree, and the American tree, which I think is ridiculous. All the Canadian vehicles should go to Germany, or alternatively be part of a... sorry, go to Britain, or alternatively be part of a Commonwealth tree with Australia and New Zealand, etc. Same as like the M1A1 AIM, the C2A1, this Leopard 2A4M. I believe they should all go to Britain. I think that would make a lot more sense. All the Australian vehicles, all the Canadian vehicles should go to Britain. That makes the most sense. Anyway, I will show you the camouflage net briefly. You can also see this damn cool new loading screen that they've added. I love this one. Here, as you can see, it is a camo net vehicle, just like the Leopard 2A4, Panther Battalion 123. It looks kinda decent, I suppose. It's very fluffy. It's a strange looking vehicle. Anyway, moving on. Germany, like almost every other nation, is getting its own new top vehicle. In this case, the F4F KWS LV, or F4F ICE as most people know it. And this thing is a F4 Phantom at 12.7 in air RB, which is why is it at 12.7? Because it has AIM-120s, and that is the only reason. So you've got a Phantom fighting everything from F-16s and MiG-29s to Su-27s and F-15Cs. This poor thing's gonna get waffle stomped more than any tornado. Once again, Germany air is absolutely stuffed until they get perhaps a Swiss F-18 or long in the future a Eurofighter. But until then, it's just so stuffed. It's so stuffed. Especially after the MiG-23 and MiG-21 nerfs, it is going to be absolutely waffle stomped. Either way, it is a nice looking Phantom, at the very least. And for the last German vehicle, we have the Bernau from Germany as well. And once again, this is just a coastal boat, rank 4, 3.3. But the special thing about it is that it's got missiles on it. Strela 2M missiles. Like, they're not the same as the Strela 10M, as in the Soviet SPAA that is cracked beyond belief. But a 3.3 coastal boat with Strela missiles is still damn funny, even if they aren't as good. Are we able to view the Strelas here? No, that's unfortunate. Moving on to the Soviet Union. They also have a new rank 7 premium, because rank 7 premiums for everyone and about 2 tech tree vehicles this update. Incredible, anyway. This is the T-80U, yet again, another T-80. T-80U E1, 11.3 again, and it's got the exact same camouflage pattern as the T-80UK. It's just missing the IRCM sights on it, and instead it's got, well, once again, it's got ERA on it, it's got the thick front plate. Like, this makes it not seem very thick, but this thing, I never understand with these T-80s, if I go into protection analysis, if I take out, let's say, it's not going to go through. See, it's showing it as like 50mm thick plates, you know. Even though, for example, the Merkava Mark IV front plate is way more than 50-50-50, it doesn't even be close to stopping 10.3 PR APFSDS. Yeah, this 50-50-50 can, in most parts, stop even Russia's top. Look at that, where's the spooling? Did you see that? Hold on, let me show this again. You see that? That was fucking, what's this? Yeah, see, it damaged the old load, passed through the crew. So yeah, this is gonna be another T-80U to fight at the BR that's gonna get spammed to high hell. So have fun. Hopefully the players won't be good. That is your only hope. Because it's gonna be painful as hell to deal with as usual. At least now in this update they made it so fuel tanks now explode better. They should explode more often when hit. They're also harder to destroy, but should still get destroyed by high caliber rounds according to the changelog. Either way, hopefully this means no more Chinese, Soviet, etc. fuel tanks bullshitting your shells into the Shadow Realm. There is also the Su27 SM, and the reason I'm showing it to you here is because look at how blue it is. All of these other vehicles in the tree are basically just white or silver. And yet this blue as hell thing, which is, avert your eyes, has so much blue that it's shown in the stat card. Like, look at this, the Su27 SM, Russia's new top fighter, which has R-77 missiles. R-77s, so the Soviet Russian version of the AIM-120s. It's so bright, it's so bright. Moving on, the Russians also get a boat, the fantastically named MPK PR11451. Amazing names as usual for Soviet coastal boats. It is red though, it's red and green, and it's got big smoke funnels on the back. A big top. It's a interesting looking boat, and it is one of the hydro, whatchamacallits, where it will go above the water when you drive it. So it sail it. So it pops up. It's like the Italian Spaviero, how that works. It's also got radar, it's got 76mm gun, It doesn't seem like it'd be too bad, at the least. And it's pretty neat looking, at least. Anyway, this is the last Soviet vehicle. Now moving on to the UK. And for Britain, we must welcome the addition of Kuwait to the game for their first vehicle, the Desert Warrior, which has the operator country Kuwait, according to this stat card here. And it's a warrior, but I believe up-armored. Whoop, didn't mean to press that. The Tatus, composites at the front here. Very interestingly indented radiators. I find that interesting. 25mm gun. The 2 tow launchers, plenty of spare ammo, unlike the Namur, which we'll get to. Doesn't seem like it'll be too bad. More IFVs are always fun. More things to smack with HE. And it gets APFS DS, which is 92mm pen. So kinda awful pen for 10.0, but I don't know. Sure, people make it work. I'm pretty sure it's about the same as the previous Warrior, which is at 10.0. Well, no, actually, it's a whole different cannon, so it's gonna be less pen. Let's see. No, see, the Warrior 8.3 has more pen, actually. That's what I thought. 110mm. That is, very interesting. It's got less pen. That's gonna be, I'm sure people are gonna have fun complaining about that. Anyway, welcome Kuwait to the game. Rank 7. The Britons get 3 new aircraft this update. They must be happy and stop complaining about minor nation mistreatment. Never gonna happen. Starting with the Indian Premium MiG-21 Bison, which is a MiG-21 at 11.7, which is armed with R27R1s, R27T1s, and R73s. The thing is, in real life, this thing could use R77s, the new Soviet missile. It is famous for being a MiG-21 that can use R77s, yet it does not have R77s, because that means Gaijin would likely not be able to sell it. Because if they put it at 12.3, that'd be too high. They could have put it at 12.0 and given it R77s, I reckon. I'm sure they could have, because this is a rank 8 premium. So I'm sure they could have made it 12.0 like the F-20 and given it R77s. That would make sense, but no, it doesn't have them. But anyway, it's a new top premium for Britain. So you can have that over the F4J. Following that, there is the new Sea Harrier FA2, which has, to each their own, but this camouflage, I'm not a fan of the color of it. The wings also look strangely stumpy for a Harrier. I think it's my imagination. But this is the FA2. It is armed with AIM-120Bs. Following this, the 3rd aircraft for Britain is a new Tornado, the Tornado F3 Late, which also has, guess what, AIM-120Bs. Also 4 Sky Flashes, but AIM-120Bs, amazing. And a billion flares. 320 flares, which is insane. Insane number of flares. The Britons actually get a new blue water ship as well. They're eating good this update. The HMS Queen Mary from the British Empire, actually. It's boats. You want me to describe boats? I'll just show you the funny parts, which is to be the fact that it has small, tiny boats inside the big boat. Look. It's got tiny boats in it. It looks like little boats inside the giant boat, which I think is very funny. And that's what makes this boat special. Following up, we must now talk about Japan, who are receiving no new ground vehicles. So, rest in peace, Japan. They are, however, getting the F-15JM, which is their version of, well, not even an F-15C, because, as you can see, it doesn't have those bulging fuel tanks in the side. So I'm not sure which variant it is exactly, but it is armed with the new missiles, the AAM-4s, which are, from what I've heard, pretty good, possibly. The AAM-3s are quite good, but the AAM-4s, I don't know. It is probably my least favorite of the new F-15s, to be honest. The camouflage is close enough to the American one, but I just dislike how the roundels look on it. Japan also gets a new blue water ship, the IJN Haguro. Did not Google Guru. Anyway, it's a big ship. The problem is I don't see anything particularly funny about it, so I can't talk about it. It once again has little small ships on it, but you know, it is kind of few boats have that. It's still cute looking. It's got a big crane on it. That's something special about it. You know, the only thing interesting I can find about boats is when they've got something special on them, which this one doesn't really. It's just the same sort of stuff. China, who is getting a new rank 4 SPAA at 6.7, ESL-92. It's essentially a chassis from another vehicle and a almost BTR-80 looking turret. It has the new modules that have been introduced in this update, like the fire control system. And it's got like driver controls, which are modeled now, as well as power system. But it doesn't have much pen, if I remember correctly from the dev server. It's pretty weak in terms of pen. Yeah, 63mm. You're penning nothing at 6.7 with this, especially since there's so many heavy tanks. So good luck. It does have FIT rounds, so it will be probably a decent SPAA. In terms of armor, it doesn't have much armor, except for the part of the turret, which is interesting. This thing will most likely just be food for Tiger 2s with HE rounds. That's what I reckon. China also gets 2 new aircraft, one of which is the F-47 N25RE, which is it's a P-47 N25, except it's got an F in its name because of course it does. But it's from the Republic of China. It's just a premium to grind the tree. There's nothing special about it at all that I can see. China is also getting the J-11A, which is their version of the Su27 SM, I assume. They've got a little Chinese flag on it as well. Something I will mention as well, even though it isn't a new aircraft, the JH-7A is receiving the PL-5. It's receiving new missiles that are similar to, I can't remember, is it the PL-5Cs? I can never remember, I don't know Chinese missiles. Now let's talk about Italy, or more so Hungary, who is receiving the Leopard 2A7HU, which is a Leopard 2A7, but better because it has a remote manned turret on the top with a, I believe it's a 50 cal on it, so that is very nice. 11.7 rank 8 vehicle. Fear not, Italian players, you no longer have to suffer through the Ariete. You now have an actually very good top tier MBT. No more Ariete AMV suffering. Italy is also receiving a new rank 7 premium aircraft, the AMX A1A from Brazil. So welcome Brazil to the game as well, alongside Kuwait and some others that we'll be showing off later. But this thing has a very neat camouflage, and it has, for its secondary weapons, 2 MAA-1 missiles, which are piranhas, as they're called. It has, you see these bombs here called the BAFG-230 Lizard 2 guided bombs. These are not Brazilian made. These are made by Israel. Like the Python 3 missiles, etc. These are Israeli made, which I think is a fun fact that this thing has those missiles. It's also got a pretty neat green camouflage on it. So welcome Brazil. For the last Italian vehicle, they too are getting a ship, which is the Alano at rank 5, battle rating 3.7. Nothing special about it at all that I can tell. It honestly seems kinda bad. It's got a Bofors gun. It's actually got quite a few Bofors guns, but that's kinda it. At 3.7, I'm not sure how crash hot that will be, but I know. Now for French ground, they are receiving the Vextra 105, which is, guess what? It is a stabilized French vehicle, French light tank. Gun stabilizers. Isn't that just incredible? French tank with stabilizer. You've never seen it. And interestingly, it also, I can't really show you it, but it has a camouflage net. So I believe it's the first tech tree vehicle to feature a camouflage net, which is pretty interesting. I'm sure the French players are happy to finally get that. Although French players don't deserve nice things. Anyway, moving on. Before we get into aircraft, I actually want to show off the ships, which is the very first coastal ship for France, the VLT2 Premium, which has this strange shaped little thing on the front that I'm not sure what the point of is. But it's a funny, small little ship with a French flag on it. And this is what you would buy to actually progress through this tree that is currently a single vehicle and it's premium, which is pretty funny. Moving on, there is a new rank 1 coastal ship for France as well, the Tornado, which is blue. Why are you blue? That's basically the most special thing about it. It's blue. it's blue. They are also getting the Guishin, which is it's a boat. Once again, it's got a little crane on it. Nothing special at all, but it's a Tech Tree rank 2 boat. Now moving on to French Aviation, you can see there is an entire new sub-tree here. Mind the fact I have basically not played France because fuck France. Starting with, this is the Benelux tree, meaning Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. One thing you'll notice though is that there are no Luxembourg vehicles. Not a single one. So it's basically just a bean tree, so I like to call it. It's the bean tree. The bean sub-tree, which starts with the Gladiator Mark 1, the British biplane. Then you go on to the most interesting vehicle, probably, of this sub-tree, and basically one of the few non-copy-paste things in the update, basically, the Fokker GIA, which is from the Netherlands. And finally, there is a use for these triangular decals, I'm sure we all know. And it is a very funny twin-engine, funny-shaped tail vehicle with 8, a whole 8, I believe it is. Yes, 8 7.92 millimeter Brownings in the nose. So this thing will probably absolutely tear in head-ons at its BR of 2.3. That is my prediction. Turn rate, yeah, pretty bad. Then there's also the Dutch Firefly F Mark IV. It's just the Firefly Mark IV with a Dutch flag on it. Nothing too special, but I mean, no, it'll give you more things to grind in the tree, more playable vehicles that aren't French vehicles. So you can now play France without playing France much more efficiently. So congratulations, you can now no longer need to play France. The Belgians are also getting the Spitfire FR Mark XIV-E, which is, I don't know what's with this strange circle around this. It looks kind of strange. I'm not a fan of how this looks. It looks to be a clipped wing version as well of the Spitfire, perhaps. But is that 5.7 then? And probably the thing that I would most recommend from this subtree is the Meteor F Mark 8. The same kind of Meteor that is in the Israeli air tree, which is absolutely cracked when on very low fuel, like less than 10 minutes. Like around 7 minutes, 6 minutes of fuel. It is an absolute UFO, and so I reckon if you're grinding this French tree, this Benelux tree, because now you don't need to play any French vehicles, hurrah, this would definitely probably be the plane that you'd want to main, unless you just hate it for some reason. But either way, it's just an incredible vehicle. It's very good. The guns are punchy, it turns amazing on low fuel. And then there's the Dutch Hunter F6 at 9.0, which will just, it will never be, it's only got 2 A9Bs, so, you know, absolutely dreadful. It will never be the Hunter F.58, which is an incredible aircraft and probably my favorite jet in the game. This is just, it's not it. It's just an ordinary Hunter, and it's at 9.0 instead of 9.7, so you know it's going to be worse. And it's 2 A9Bs, rough, very rough. Then there is the Dutch Mirage 5BA with an actually really cool camouflage scheme that I quite like. I do like this Belgian camouflage. It has 2 AIM-9Js, and once again, 2 AIM-9Bs, hooray! But the AIM-9Js will be alright. At 10.3, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's just a Mirage, basically. Then again, another Belgian vehicle, an F-104G. Nothing special to talk about, it's just a Belgian F-104. Similarly, there is a Belgian F-16A. It's just an F-16A. There's no special missiles, it's just an F-16A. Finally though, France has a new top fighter, which is an F-16, the F-16AM from Belgium. And this actually has AIM-120s, despite just being an F-16. It's got 6 AIM-120As. So you can have an F-16 with Fox 3s, which will probably be very fun. So this is definitely, I mean, I'd call it the star of the tree at the moment, you know. People claim it's the Mirage 4000. No, it's this thing now. It's this thing now. Moving on to our second last nation, we have Sweden with their absolutely hilarious looking USH 204 GK. What the hell is this thing? Look at this clown car. 20mm Oerlikon with only 57mm of pen. It's a 5.3. 63mm pen. It's meant to be an anti-air. Zero armor, as you can see. Its thickest is 10mm. Most of it's 6-8mm. I reckon this thing is going to be an absolute heap of trash, but it's cute. Alright, and I say that probably evens it out. Sweden is also getting another new vehicle, another premium, which is the CV9035DK from Denmark. So welcome Denmark to the game. I think that's the first Denmark vehicle. It's meh. The camouflage scheme is alright. It's essentially just a CV9035 in terms of armor. I could have sworn usually they have 50mm here, not 20. I'm not sure. Once again, it's basically the same thing. 131mm pen APF SDS. And at 9.7, which makes the new Desert Warrior seem absolutely awful. It's only rank 6, 9.7, way more pen. It just doesn't have the missiles. Honestly, I think it's going to perform significantly better. And once again, Swedish tree bias, remove Swedish ground from the game 2024. Please, guys, remove it. And Sweden is getting a single new aircraft, the JS-39C, which is basically being added just to force the Swedish players to grind the whole new vehicle, because it is functionally identical to the previous Gripen in the tree, the Gripen A, because except it's got RB99s, and that's the only difference. This is its missile selection, and it's got its own equivalent of the Fox 3s, and that's basically it's functionally identical. And as far as I know, the Gripen A could carry those missiles as well, so essentially this is just forcing the Swedish players to grind out another vehicle. So, incredible. At least for 420,000 RP, funny number. But that is all for Sweden. Now moving on to Israel. Israel is receiving the number 30, finally, an IFV for the tree at last. It's the number... interestingly, it's the number 30, as it's called in game. In real life, it's the number RCWS 30. So once again, Gaijin fucked up the name of an Israeli vehicle. What else is new? It keeps happening. Anyway, this is the experimental test bed version of the RCWS turret that you all know, I'm sure, from the Panda 2 tank. And it's the first IFV of the tree, unless you count the, I don't know, the Hovet. In terms of pen, though, it's got a bit of a problem. It's 116mm, so it's alright. It's 10.3, so its only lineup is going to be with the improved Chaparral, the Draken, as it should be called, once again. Or you bring it up to 11.0, by which point it's probably going to suffer. It also has spike missiles, and we all know how unreliable the spike missiles are. At least now, unlike on the dev server, it has a whopping 2 extra spikes in the back. And look at all this empty space, which hold on, I'll get to in a second. Anyway, finally, I'm incredibly happy that we're getting an IFV, even though it is a bit strange that it isn't the actual in-service number, the number IFV as it's called, which has a turret and trophy APS. I think it's strange that we're getting this version. Another strange thing, in real life, this version of the number never had side skirts. They did not give it side skirts. And yet, for some reason, Gaijin gave the number RCWS 30 side skirts, when only the in-service one got side skirts, not this experimental version. So once again, Gaijin fucked it up. Following on, alright, rather large problem. What the fuck is this armor? And I say this with the greatest emphasis. What the fuck is this armor? 61 tons. The Merkava Mark IV is 65 tons in-game. And yet, the Namur has only the front plate armor, which is identical to the Mark IV's armor. 0 side composites, which the Mark IV has. And is missing the entire gigantic turret of the Merkava Mark IV, with its immense amount of composites that are, again, underperforming in-game, which I could rant about for a whole other thing. How is this 61 tons? How obese are these crew members? Are the electronic systems multiple tons, Gaijin? What the fuck? Where is the armor? As you can see, composite screen 70mm, this is identical to what the Mark IV has, and yet, on the side, it's only this 50mm nearer element, which once again should be sleerer, because these do not use Nira in real life, they use Slira. But even after even the best bug reports given to Gaijin, they cannot wrap their heads around Slira armor, and so continue to resort to giving the Israeli tanks Nira. And these side skirts are 95mm. It's more than the rest of this whole thing. Fucking the side skirts. I'm glad it's got the side skirts, but it shouldn't even have them to begin with. And the rest of the armor should be significantly improved. In real life, the Namur is known to have, because it is missing the entire turret of the Mark IV, they took the weight worth of armor from the turret and crammed it back into the hull to give it significantly better thickness. And yes, in Gaijin's infinite wisdom, did not even give it proper side composites, just these shitty little 50mm, basically Nira blocks, instead of proper side composites, the rest of which is just 10mm thick, rolled homogeneous armor, and a bit of little 10mm and 4mm structural steel. And where's the armor? Where's the weight coming from? So this, you have here, a sluggish 54km/h moving IFV at 10.3 with barely any lineup, with the most botched armor I have ever seen in this game. And that's saying something, because the Merkava Mark IVs exist with their incredibly botched, underperforming armor. And yet this, Gaijin Infinite Wisdom, they made it the exact same armor as the Merkava Mark IV, got rid of all the side composites, and yet still made it only 4 tons lighter. Does that mean that the Merkava Mark IV turret weighs about 4 tons, according to Gaijin? Or is this basically scaffolding of a turret weigh that much, does it, Snail? Does it weigh just that much to almost make up for the entire missing turret of the Merkava Mark IV, and all the missing side composites and other pieces of armor inside of it? What in the ever-living fuck? Like, I'm sorry, I've ranted about this for a while, but what the hell? Genuinely. How do they manage to fuck it up that bad after all the bug reports? And for the longest time in the dev server, they did not have the armor modeled. The front plate was just about 6mm thick and had no composites. And so we all were like, oh, well, the armor's unfinished. Surely when it comes to the main server, it'll be fixed. No, of course not. And now it's too late to give Gaijin proper feedback about it because the update's already out. So I'm going to be making some very heartened bug reports and forum posts about this, because this is just impressively bad. I knew the armor would be bad when it came to the game, because I knew Gaijin was just going to base it off the Merkava Mark IV's armor, which is already underperforming. Hence, the Namur would be botched. However, this is actually impressively poorly done. Actually impressively the most botched vehicle in the entire tree, I reckon. I just hope it doesn't perform too rubbish. But seriously, Gaijin. Seriously. When will you fix this damn tree? Even the Ariets get spoilliners this update. Meanwhile, the Israeli tree is still getting absolutely raw-dogged by Gaijin. What the fuck? What is wrong with this armor? How do you stuff it up? Sure, maybe the documents are not completely publicly available, but the armor is known to be able to stop, I believe it's 3VM 60. So let me just get this out. What's 3VM 60? Yeah, fucking, yeah, okay, Gaijin, yeah. And for all of you saying, oh, well, they intentionally nerfed top-tier composites to make it more fair, and for balancing purposes, yes, they also nerfed the pen of top-tier shells, APF SDS. So they should scale. Except then, look at this. I guarantee if I got you a probably 9.3, hold on. Let me just get real quick a, let's see, rank 6. Where's the Magag 5? Where's the Magag 5? It's not here. It's gonna be past rank 5. Magag 5. M111. Let's see how well it does. Ah, yes. The 8.0 vehicles with APF SDS, 8.0 APF SDS, can penetrate it just as well as 3BM60. And this front engine deck means nothing because the shape of the hull as well, if you've noticed, is different to the angle of the Merkava Mark IV's hull. And yet it's just identical according to Gaijin, the same armor protection. Sorry, I'm getting rather angry. I need to move on before this video is an hour long of me just ranting. The other new vehicle that Israel gets is the Bez Meshupar, which means essentially improved BAS, and it is again an F-15C essentially with the external fuel tanks here, and it has the AIM-120A missiles as well as Python 3s. And so this is now the top vehicle for Israel, which is, I mean, it's very nice, except they fucked up the cockpit. They fucked up the cockpit. Alright, let me compare these things to you. Have a look at this cockpit here. Just check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Alright? And then compare it to this image right here. What? Look at there's images just available of the cockpit, and yet they do this to it. Amazing work, guys, and once again, fantastic work, amazing research. Your research team is just the best in the world, truly. I mean, just incredible. Well done, guys. You make me proud. Just incredible. Israel is also, well, not really also getting, however, the Barak 2 has been improved as well, in a way. It's now 13.0, but it gets the indigenous Derby missiles, which, as far as I know, are bugged out to high hell and just aren't as good as its contemporaries. Which is just fantastic, isn't it? Just truly incredible. Hopefully they aren't still bugged out like they were on the dev server, though. One other thing that I didn't forget to mention, but should mention, is that the Mirage 2005F, and I believe some others maybe, get the MUPA EM missiles, which I believe are probably the best of the new missiles, from what I've seen. Because I don't know what's special about them, but they seem to be performing really well. So once again, the French mains eat good, sadly. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't believe I missed anything, but if I did, please let me know in the comments. My Discord server link is in the description, and if you enjoyed the video, you could like, you could subscribe, you could do all those sort of things. I'm pretty sure the button beneath the video glows, the subscribe button, it glows whenever I say you should subscribe. So you can go have a look at that. Watch as it glows. Unless it doesn't work like that anymore. It did at one point though. It did at one point. So, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.